The bots have already taken over so much of our society. First, they took over our factory jobs, dealing the final blow to the boomer economy, where people could just do low-skilled labor for a few years and still earn enough money to buy a house and go to college. Also, the days where we could steal all of the parts to build our very own Cadillac like Johnny Cash are long gone, thanks to the robot menace. The bots went from doing entry-level work to getting positions in management. And yes, I'm calling Marty a manager because I don't know the corporate structure of Stop and Shop per se, but the fact that Marty doesn't actually clean anything and instead just yells for another person to come clean up any spills that it detects tells me that clearly Marty is a manager. The bots are even starting to become cops. All that they're really missing is a Glock, a sensor to detect the odor of marijuana, and a speaker to yell, "Stop resisting," whenever it wants to beat an innocent person. But those of us in the service industry are still safe, right? Our corporate overlords aren't going to start hiring robots to do the wagey shuffle instead of us, right? When somebody at Tendy Shack has a birthday, the bosses are still going to need us wagies to get a mummified cake from the back of the freezer and then get into conga formation and sing and dance this sugary mess out to the patrons. Right? Right? No. Say hello to Bella, Marty's distant kawaii cousin who is planned to be serving food at 2,000 eateries run by Skylark Holdings, Japan's largest operator of family restaurants, by the end of the year. The robot waiters can ferry food for up to 4 people to his designated table and then bring the dishes back once customers are done eating. Now, part of the reason for this is, of course, a reaction to the pandemic. In fact, the events of the last 2 years have really accelerated Japan's embrace of robot workers, and I fully expect their standing military to be entirely replaced by Gundams before the end of the decade. Let's just hope that Japan remains an ally to the United States through this and doesn't decide to go with full-on imperialism again, except this time with giant mechanized robots. But maybe you prefer to cook your food at home, or you just decide to order takeout through the many apps that do that. So you don't think that you will ever actually be served by a robot waiter in Japan. Well, don't worry. There are other robots for you to meet during your vacation to the land of the rising sun. In fact, if you decide to stay at a hotel, the chances of you getting checked in by a robot are increasing with each day that passes, because who would have thought that it's actually cheaper to staff your hotel with robots than actual people? Oh, is this robot person too deep in the uncanny valley for you? How about a robot dinosaur that checks you in instead? I hope you aren't afraid of mechanized reptiles, because this is the only robot there that actually speaks English. So if you watch your anime with dubs, be prepared to talk to Dinobot for you to get a hotel room. I mean, what's next? Are Johns gonna have to start taking robot hookers to the robot hotel room? And then when you get there, are you going to be interrupted by a robot maid who's trying to clean the room, but then decides to join in on a robot three-way, but you forgot that you aren't a robot yourself, you're made out of flesh and bone, and our appendages are not designed to withstand the force of a mechanized vacuum seal double hand twist got combo 3000, so when it's all over, you pay the robo-thought that you hired and you leave the hotel room smooth as a Ken doll. Now, I know you're probably thinking, of course Japan has a huge robot workforce. It's Japan. It's the same country that elected Pikachu to be their ambassador, and I'm not even making that part up. It's just as real as Japan's used panty vending machines. Clearly, the Japanese have ascended to a culture that is far beyond our understanding. That island just hasn't been the same since we let the nukes fly. But the robot menace isn't just taking over Japan. It's invading France as well, because of course it is. Invading France is like step one for taking over the world. But seriously, this restaurant in Paris called Kala is replacing their line cooks with robots. Here's a video of the robot making some pasta. It even has a dispenser for sauce and cheese, and it can make more types of dishes than just spaghetti. And it's fucking bullshit. This thing has no soul. It has no sense of taste. It has no heart. It can't make your pasta with love and compassion like your Nona used to. It's just metal and plastic. It's boiling noodles and then farting some red sauce onto them. And the fact that the French seem to be okay with this means that this technology is likely going to get rolled out all over the world. I mean, seriously, who is more picky about their food than the French? Definitely not Americans. We eat moon pies and shit. So soon, the entire restaurant industry will be run by robots. They'll have the entire human process replicated by machines in just a few years, right down to the hungover college kids putting pubes in your pasta. But hang on, maybe you still think that there's some hope. Maybe robots doing all of the jobs won't be so bad. Maybe you'll finally get to pursue your dreams and live on universal basic income provided by the trillionaire class that runs the robots. And since there's no jobs, we can just do fun stuff like skateboard all day, right? No. This robot, named Leonardo, already skateboards better than you ever will. It has impeccable balance. It never falls over. It has the ability to hover. And I bet when Tony Hawk dies, they're going to take part of his brain and infuse it with Leonardo, making it so that there will never be another human skateboarder that is able to compete with robots ever again. The bots are seeing to it that there is no future for us fleshy creatures. This one probably surprised me the most because it seems like just a few years ago, the leading robot developers couldn't even develop bots that were able to stay standing. If they ran into any type of obstruction, they would just fall over. So I'm thinking that either these robots that kept falling over were just a fake, they were just a plant to make us think that the robot technology we have isn't really that far along and isn't something to worry about, or an extraterrestrial engineer has been captured on a recent SpaceX mission, and it is chained up in the basement of Boston Dynamics undergoing cock and ball torture, and it only gets a break when it gives us the blueprints to build another monstrosity like Leonardo, this skateboarding robot thing. The future is bleak. All we will be allowed to do is eat fake food cooked by a fake chef, served by a fake waiter, and then we will pay with fake money and go home to our fake pods and watch fake news. And you better fake happiness the entire time or the bots are going to send you to a re-education camp.